Kala Kadosh, everybody, welcome. We're going to learn for the Rufuah Shlema of the Asher ben Ima Shalom. Also, we're going to give a lot of blessing for Dr. Igor Dirkanov, as a dentist. Baruch Hashem, did a good things. So, HaKadosh Baruch Hu shitein lo baracha, atzlacha, briyut, arbe disiyat dishmaya, sason v'simcha, nachad, Rufuah Shlema, ben zachar bakarov b'ezrat Hashem. So we're learning in the Perek Gidul Banim, which is raising up kids, in a Reshit Chochmah. Garsinam b'mishle, Yasir bincha v'nichechecha. V'nichechecha, Mishle, first of all, talks about the Gidul Banim, which is parenting. It comes from the Shlomo HaMelech. He's telling us the passage that if we want to take out our son, he says Yasir bincha, which is the son. Son, it doesn't make a difference whether the son or the daughter. V'nichecha, and we're going to give him chinuch, which is proper education. Yim tirtzeh liyot b'menucha, if a person wants to have menucha, which is means to in a pleasant way to live, v'sheket, and a quietness, b'shalva, and to have a lot of joy. Shalva ba'olam hazeh, yasir et bincha. We have to take our kids and we have to give them proper education. And he's going to tell us how to do it. So, al derech tova ve'yishara te'eh benucha v'sheket b'shalva. So, if a person wants to live in a good life, in a proper life, and to have many, many enjoyments from the also kids, mipnei shelo litztaer alav shiyatzeh le'arbut ra la'asot avirot. So, when the kids, when they get older, so he says, if they get older, so they would not go in a bad way. Lo lignov, which is not to steal. Lirtzoach, which is to kill, God forbid. Ho'il ve'isarta oto b'katnuto lalechet b'drachav Hashem yitbarach. If you're going to parent them and educate them when they were little kids, it says once we're going to do it from the little age. So most of the people would ask, what's the little age? So as soon as he starts talking, Masechet Sukkah following, it says that, I think page 43, that the first passage we have to learn to the Yeled, to the child, is the Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe Morashat Keilad Yaakov. So Torah Tziva Lanu, why Torah Tziva Lanu? First of all, every way, like in Masechet Psachim in page 49, it says 7 things was created before the world was created. So one of the things that was created was the Torah. So when Torah, Kadosh Baruch Hu Yistakel Ba'olaita, was looking at the Torah, and he was creating the world. So when he was creating the world, everything that happens, whether there's something new a person goes to, or something old that he's thinking that is old, that the Gemara says, and it's the Gemara and also the Shlomo HaMelech says, King Solomon, En chadash tachat hashemesh, there's nothing new under the sun. So if we want to have our children to go in a proper way, first of all we have to educate them through the Torah. So once we're going to educate them through Torah, we're able to, that's the first process of how to become a better educator to the children, and when they become older, they become much, much, much healthier, whether they're physical or spiritual. So it says there's 32 aspects of how we're supposed to be parenting our kids. 32 ways of doing it. So everybody says we have to parenting. So one of the things that he brings over here is the 32 ways of parenting. So in our generation, as everybody knows, that we have the biggest problem is that our gadgets. Our gadgets as a iPhone, iPads, everything that happens, and we say that why it happened to our kids, what it happens. Including in every family, that's where the person is religious or person is not religious. So one of the things that we have to vichanech otam, which is parenting them in proper education, is limitation on iPadding and iPhoning. Lamed bincha Torah v'yinechecha medina shem geinam. So a person will give them educated and a parenting them that we're going to take them out of the geinom. Ve'iten ma'adanim lenafshecha. So it says if we're going to give to our soul ma'adanim, which means the supplements and the food that we need to feed our souls, ma'adanim, which means also something that is enjoyment for our soul. Lenafshecha ve'echsinecha b'gan eden im hatzadikim. So a person, if he's going to from little age parenting his child, which is boy or girl, grandkids, brothers and sisters, so he's going to be enjoying with the tzaddikim b'gan eden. Gan eden, which means there's a two Gan eden Tachton, which is the lower Gan Eden, and an upper Gan Eden. Dichtiv, like he says, Yaser bincha ki yesh tikva v'al amitu al tisa nafshecha. He says, Yaser bincha, if we're going to take out our son, and yesh tikva, we're going to, Yaser bincha, which means we're going to educate him, and we're going to parent him from little age, we're going to have a tikva, we're going to have a hope that he's not going to chas v'shalom die. רוצה לומר כי יש תקווה אם יש תראה בנך שהוא טיפש, אל תאמר מה יועיל כי המוסר הועיל. So a person says, my son or my daughter, some of them are smart, some of them are not smart. So they're not smart. So he's a tipesh. He says he's not so smart. He does not grasp information the other kids would do. So he says that, okay, leave him alone. He let him do whatever he wants to do. He says, no, al tomar ma yuil. We should not say what's going to help for him. Bo musar yuil en lo da'ad le'avin anechenu. If we're going to we're going to leave him, and we're not going to give him education, and we're not give him proper way of how to behave himself in the future in a life, he's going to, all his life he could have a problem. Even he says, he uses the hard words over here, he says, even he's so stupid. He still has a hope for the child, even he's stupid. So he says, if we're going to teach him musar. So he does not know, this is impossible, because most of the kids, when like the Pirkei Avot says that lema yelet adome. What's the child? When a child is little, what does it look like? He says like a niyar chalak, like a clean paper without being written. Lema zaken dome. Somebody is elderly. He says somebody elderly person. It's like writing in a paper, written in a paper. Once we read, then we erase it and we write it again. That's the way elderly person is. But the young, when a person is child, we're able to write it on a new paper. And whatever you learn from childhood, that's going to carry him all through his life, whether through marriage, whether through parents, grandparents, where with his own kids, they're able to, with his wife, they're able to succumb to the life or to become a better person. Im talmidenu musar, if we're going to teach the kids ethics. So he does not know Mishnah, he does not know Gemara, he does not know Chumash, which is impossible in our generation. Each kid that's from 4 years old, 5 years old, each one of them want to learn. It's about how much we're going to invest time in them. It's all about time. So time, everybody says, I don't have time. So everything that we do, we say we do for our kids. If we do for our kids, make sure that we're going to find time. Some people don't have time 1 hour a day, half hour. It's better to give a sweet wording and a proper education and proper musara and ethic. So I keep saying proper musara and proper ethic, which is which books I have to read. What if I don't know myself? So Baruch Hashem, we have in every corner of Bet Knesset, Bet Midrash, study hall, we have in each of them classes, whether for the little kids, whether for big kids, whether Saturday nights, father and a son. It's very important to go to father and son, then go to birthdays, to go through your side, or to go to weddings. It's much, much greater. The Rambam says in Echilchol Talmud Torah, when a person teaching himself Torah, teaching his son Torah, it's like Kilu mikabel Torah mi Sinai. It's like accepting the Torah from the Har Sinai, which means from the mountain of the Sinai. What's greater than that? What's greater investment than that, to have this kid to be educated and have to be ethic in life. ומסר אין תלמידנו מוסר, ואם לא יבין עד עתה אפשר שיבין מכאן ואילך, ואם לא יבין תורה הרבה, מפני שהוא טיפש. What about the person, he says, listen, I invested in my kids, they're not listening, and they're not going proper education, or they're not giving proper ethics, or he's not so smart. So what we do? We're supposed to leave him alone? No, like anything else. If a person goes to a restaurant, and he ate in a restaurant, so we ate in a restaurant, and God forbid they got food poison. So once it becomes food poison, what's going to happen? That he's going to eat again? Most probably he's not going to go to the same restaurant because he got food poison. But he's going to go to a different restaurant, or he's going to go eat again. Same thing is over here. It doesn't mean that the kid, the first time, the second time, the third time, does not understand. There's many, many times that afterwards that he will understand. There's no such thing. When Rabbi Akiva saw, when the water is dripping on a rock, when the water is dripping on a rock, so what happens to the rock? Rabbi Akiva says, if the water was dripping on a rock and made a hole, kal vachomer, he says, if the water made the hole inside the rock, how much Torah could get inside to the person, and because in the Torah it's inherent in us, because it says every time when we read the Torah, Asher natan lanu et Torah nata betochenu, it was implanted in us. We just have to reveal that Torah, and we have to express that Torah. So we as a parent, we have to invest time in it, whether there's a father, whether there's a mother, and we cannot blame each other and we say, listen, I don't have time. Let my husband do it. So the wife says, no, the husband says, let my wife do it. It goes vice versa, so that's not going to help. The more we're going to invest, the more we're going to see more results. Forget about all my words. You're going to say, listen, you too strict with this. I'm not strict. I'm telling you what the book says, and the Chachamim, whatever said, is going to continue, and he's going to continue so much information that is nobody going to give. Whether we come to our generation or previous generation, so much information that it says over here that it's a tips for our life. Where the person, he puts his kids to sleep, he have to say Shema Israel. Where the person is too busy building a house, where the person is too busy with his businesses, he still have to find a time for the kids. We must, because that's our investment and that's our future. If we say we worry about the future, that's the most important future that we have to worry. וילך אם לא יבין תורה הרבה מפני שהוא טיפש למד לפחות קריאת תורה, לקרוא תורה בתורה. So it says if a child is not smart and is not educated, which means he's using strong words, he says he's stupid. So if he's not going to learn Torah, he's not going to learn Gemara, he's not going to learn Mishnah, so what's going to happen? At least he would know, לפחות he would learn Torah, which is he's going to read Torah, which is Baal Koreh, could be reading Torah, or להתפלל, or to pray. כדי שיצאו מכלל עם הארץ, in order for him not to be עם הארץ. ואל תאמר אם יגדיל עליו מוסר, ימות תחת השבט. So he says, listen, I'm teaching him so much Torah, he's not going to be so smart, he's not going to be so street smart, people will go over him. That's not true. In everywhere, that if a person where he learns Gemara, where he learns Mishnah, where he learns Chumash, especially in Gemarot, Baba Metzia, Baba Batra, Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Batra, there's a 3 Gemarot that talks about many business transactions that people would not even dream about it. So it's very important to say we say, listen, people will go over him. People will never go over him. Somebody who's learning Gemara is much higher grader by IQ than anybody in the world that we could put together. אל תישא נפשך. דבר אחר, יסיר בנך שמא יצא להתרבות רע וימות בבית דין, או שלא בבית דין. He says, חס ושלום, if the kids will go not proper way, so the beit din, we don't have in our time beit din, says they would die in a beit din, the beit din, which is the judgment, the court case, the courthouse of the Jewish courthouse will make him to death penalty, or not in a beit din, or chas v'shalom, he could die in a street. וטוב לו לאדם שיעמוד שתכהנה עיניו ויעמיד בן רשע. So it says following like this. A person rather go blind, like Yitzchak Avinu is going to give an example, but should not put a wicked son or wicked daughter in this world. Garsina b'Bereshit Rabbah, like it says in the Midrash, Vayhi ki zakan Yitzchak. Vayhi ki zaken Yitzchak. Like it says that Yitzchak got elderly. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. Yitzchak Avinu, that he was so cold, he was in a blind stage. He did not see Esav the way he was going so bad. It says, why HaKadosh Baruch Hu did? The reason HaKadosh Baruch Hu did, so he would not see his own son, how bad is it become, how is it pain for the parents. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Omer, Kahu enav k'dei shelo yira'a b'da'ato shel Esav. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yeh Yitzchak yotze לשוק ויבא בראייתן אמר דין אבוהו דהי רשעה אלא הנני מקהה את עיניו והוא יושב בבית. Rabbi Elazar, he says that, like we said it, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he did it on purpose. So Yitzchak Avinu will be blind. When a person is blind, he cannot function so many functions to do. It says, so when he goes back then they had a market on the street. So we have a shopping right now, go shopping in the supermarkets. It says, Yitzchak Avinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it on purpose so he would not come outside. If you come outside and will speak to people and associate with people, the people that afterwards will say, what kind of son did you brought to this world? Dichtiv, like it says, had the Dichtiv Mishle. Bakum Rashaim Yisater Adam. When a Kum Rashaim, when a wicked ones arouse wicked people, Yisater Adam, they would nullify the humans. Mikan Amru Zichronan Livracha, Kol Haomed Ben Rasha, O Talmid Rasha, Enav Kohod. He says over here that we learn, somebody, our sages say, somebody leave Ben Rasha, wicked son, or wicked daughter, God forbid, Talmid Rasha, or the student that is wicked. He says his eyes would weaken out and he could chas v'shalom go blind. Talmid Ma'achia, Ashiluni, Shenemar V'achia lo yachol lirod v'gomer. So there's Achia, he left the student, and the student, because of that, he left a bad student, says that his eyes became almost too blind. Kol kach lama she'amid Yerev'am she'ayet Talmid Rasha. Yerev'am ben Navad is one of the Malachim, Malchei Israel, like it says, Perek 11, Masechet Sanhedrin, in a Masechet Sanhedrin, in a Talmud, in a Perek with a chapter 11, it says, Arba Malachim, Shlosha Malachim v'Arba Hediyot. There's a 3 kings and a 4 people that does not have Olam Haba. So it says, one of the person is the Malchei Israel, the king of Jewish people, is Yerev'am ben Navad. Ben Rasha מיצחק, כדכתיב ותכהנה עיניו וגומר, כל כך למה עמיד עשיו שהיה רשע? Because the Esav, he says, he became רשע. מעשה בבנו של רבי חנינא בן תרדיון. He says, Rabbi Chanina ben Tardion, he had a son. And his son, שהתחפל לליסטים וגלה את סודם, says he got involved himself in our stages. In our time we go to the gangs, to the mafia, or himself wanna to become somebody that is not good. So once he gets involved with them, then he reveals the secrets of them. Because he revealed the secret of the gangs that he hang out, or he joined the gang, or became one of the mafia members. He says, "V'harguchu umilu et apiv afar." Says they killed him. Rabbi Chanina ben Tardion's son, they killed him. They filled his mouth full of dust and earth, utzrorot and stones. Le'achar shlosha yamim lekahuchu chachamim. After 3 days, they found the body of dead, of the big Tana, of the big Talmid Chacham, that his son went not to good way. He got involved himself with the gangs and the mafia. Udnuhu bekilav bikshu ki likales alav mipnei kavod shel aviv. So they said the Chachamim, Rabbi Hanania ben Tardion, we're gonna we're going to praise his son because of the respect of the father. We're not going to speak bad about him, about the son of the Rabbi Hananiah ben Tardion. V'lo anichu, v'lo inicham. Rabbi Hananiah ben Tardion says, no, you cannot do this. You cannot speak good about my son. You need to say the truth so the people would understand what the truth is. Amar lahem anichu lo v'ani amar al beni. He says, leave it. I will eulogize my son for, instead of you guys eulogizing and praising, I'm going to eulogize my son. So he opened the verse that talks about the Mishle, again, King Solomon. Patach v'amar, lo shamati lo koli. He says, he did not listen to my voice. Morai, he did not listen to the voice of his teachers. V'lilamdai, lo hatiti ozni. When I was teaching him, he's turned around from me. He did not listen to me. He closed his ears. Kimat hayiti b'chol ra beteha kal ve'eda. Ima kara alav. So he says, in every time that I came to the house, I was so in a pain. Rabbi Hananiah ben Tardion. Kas la'aviv, it says in the Mishle, kas la'aviv, anger to the father. Anger to the father. Ben ksil, he left the father. The father gets angry when he leaves the son, does not educate it, does not have ethics, does not go according to the Torah, mitzvot, maasim tovim. V'yildato, mimar le'yildato, achoto kara elav, ערב לאיש לחם שקר, ואחר ימלא פיהו חנץ. דבר אחר, ואל עמית ואל תישא נפשך. רוצה לומר לצעקתו לאבקתו, אל תחמול עליו. It says when a child is screaming, when a child is crying, אל תחמול עליו שתקנו בשבט. He says, don't leave him alone. Child is screaming, child is crying, don't leave him alone. It's one of the keys. Every time when a child is misbehaving, whether in a school, or whether in a house, or whether with his friends, so the best advice is, one of the advices that the parents, individual, needs to go out with him alone. Doesn't have to be going out to the cafe, restaurants. It could be going out, just having a walk in the street, or walking in a park. That's considered going out. And speak to him. And to realize what is it that he wants and what is it that he's missing. And of course, each child, kal v'chomer, if elderly people, they need all the time to look for, to speak to, and to relieve their heart. How much inside the child could have inside that it could relieve to the parents. It's just we have to find a key how to. So the key is by speaking to them. That's the most important key. So we have the key to speaking to them. By we keep speaking to him, like the Mishle says, that lashon raka ishbor garam, in a soft language, or to speak nice and properly, that we're able to break a bone. So if the child we're walking, if he's not behaving, I guarantee you, if somebody does not spend time, would spend time with him, half hour, 1 hour a day, he will see results within 1-2 weeks. This is guaranteed. No matter what kind of child it is. For each child there's a keys and there's a success in each child. אתה בשבט תקינו נפשי משאול תציל. הדד הכתיב. בני אם יפתוח חטאים. It says beni, the son. What if the sin all of a sudden comes to the kids? דבר אחר. הדל בני לשמוע מוסר. Second things. The child does not want to hear any ethic. And very elderly, in a teenager age, this is one of the hardest ages, and he does not want to listen. Says we should not get to the level that where he needs to hear the ethics from the dayanim, from the judges, from the Jewish judges. Talks about, God forbid, in a Masechet Sanhedrin, it has a perek ben sorer u'morer. So somebody, the Ziknei Ha'ir, which is the elderly of the town, which is talking about Ziknei Ha'ir, which is the bedding, would take it, and God forbid, if somebody is cursing the mother and the father at the same time, the Gemara talks about, which is it never happened at the same time, and the parents has to not to forgive him, which is the Gemara says there's no such thing, the parents does not forgive him. But forgive him, it's not forgiving, it's not the problem. The problem is how to fix the problem. We all could forgive because we all love each other, love our kids. So the Ashla Kadosh says that in the Shulchan Aruch, the three things that the father and the mother loves, especially father. He loves his money, loves his wife, and loves his kids. So we love the way we love it, that love could, God forbid, destroy it, and Baruch Hashem, the love could romimut gdola, which is able to uplift them in the higher levels of the education and the ethics. ולקחו זקני העיר ההוא את האיש ויסרו אותו, רוצה לומר כי אם תשגה באמרי דעד, סופך לקבל מוסר ועונש דכתיב. He says, if we're going to continue speaking to him, he's going to get it. We cannot speak to him, connect our relatives. Relatives cannot help him, get community rabbis. Community rabbis get kids that Talmidei Chachamim, that are learning in yeshiva, that able to learn the language of the young child or somebody in teenager, and able to talk to him, and able to go and give him the proper way in a way of the chayim, of life. Dichtiv, ativna min ar musar, says we should not say, listen, he's a teenager, leave him alone. Right now his own time. He says, Mishle, King Solomon, the king of the universe, he's the king of the universe, says, al timna min ar musar. He said, you should not say, listen, he's a teenager, that's it, he's not going to listen. He says, still give him musar, still give him ethic. רוצה לומר, אם תקנו בשבט כשהוא קטן כדי לאסרו, תצילו ממיתה בבית דין שיגדיל. דכתיב, הנוח לנער על פי דרכו. שלמה המלך says, הנוח לנער על פי דרכו. We have to know a way of properly how to find a key to each child. He's going to say how to do it. פירוש, אם תחנך הנער על פי דרכו, מה דרכו של הנער? He says, what means הנוח הנער על פי דרכו? הנוח לנער על פי דרכו. We're supposed to be hanoch, which is give him education, proper education, according to his way, according to the way of he wants it. So the Rishit Chochmah says, what means according to his way? Which way that he wants it? הנער, דרכו ללמוד שלא להתפלל, אלא ישב בתל, רדוף אחרי תאוותו. So let's say we're not going to do what we need to do from our part. So he's not going to learn, he's not going to pray. And ישב בתל, then he's going to sit, and he's going to find himself other things to do that is not important for his life. אלא ישב בתל לרדוף אחר תאוותו. אם תעזוב אותו על דרכו רע, he's going to go and he's going to fulfill himself with the many ta'avot, which means the ta'avato, which means his desires. אותו על דרכו רעה, ועל טבע נערתו, ותמחה בידו להחזירו למוטב, גם יזקין לא יסיר ממנו, מפני שינסו לו מטבע, לא יכול לפרוש מהם. וזה פירוש, אין רצונו לומר חנוך לנער על פי דרכו, למצווה כלומר על כך וכך. So we have a mitzvah to each one of us to give. שמחה בחור בילדוך, פירוש, אם תשמח בחור בילדוך ותלך דרכי לבך, כי על כל אלה יביך אלוקים במשפט, כי חנוך לנער, אם תחנך לנער על פי דרכו, שיסכין לא יסור מאותו דרך שהורגל בו. So it says that if we're going to teach him or educate him, or give him proper ethic in life, when he comes to the elderly ages, comes to the teenager age, then he gets married, then he's going to have kids, he will remember all his life what happened, how much his parents did for him, and how much they invested in him in a way of the proper education of the Torah. We're going to go to the next chapter that talks about, it's all become introduction, how we're supposed to be parenting our children. שיגדיל להוסיף בלימוד. When he gets elderly, after 5, after 10, he should add to his learnings. That's not, like it says in the Pirkei Avot, the teachings of our father. Ben 5 shanim lemikra. 5 years old, he already know, in our times, 5, 6, 7, you should know how to read already, and read from the Chumash and translate. Garsinu b'baba batra, amar leRav Shmuel bar Shilat, Bar Shit, לא תקבל מכאן ואילך, קבל ואסיב לה בתורה. פירוש, נער אינו לומד עד שיהיה בן 6 שנים. So it says in Masechet Baba Batra, the child would not learn until age of 6. אלא דבר מועד מפני קטנותו. It all depends on each child, each individual child. But most of the cases, if the child is little, which is 5 to 6 years old, מכאן ואילך יקבל יותר. From 6 years old, he will able to grasp more and more. לפיכך יוסיפו לו יותר בלימוד מעט בכל יום ויום. Every day we have to add to his learning. כמו שעושים לשור, שיכניסוהו לחרישה, אין דוחקים אותו יום ראשון, אלא מוליכים אותו עד שדה שיש לו לחריש, מטילים בו עליה. ליום שני קושרים העול על צווארו. He says, he given us example. We have an ox, and we have an ox and we have a field. Once we have a field and we have an ox, when we're going to bring the ox to plow the field, we're not going to right away put on an ox every weight that he needs to carry in order for him to plow the field. He says no. The first day, what we're going to do, we're going to bring the ox, we're going to go around the field, we're going to first show him the field. The second day, we're going to put the string around him that is supposed to be plow. Just go around with it. The third day, we're going to add. Same thing as a little child, he says. ליום שלישי דוחקים אותו לחריש מעט, עד שילמוד ויתחנך לחרש. He says, until the third day, fourth day, until he would know how to plow, and he's going to go one step by day by day. That's what we're talking about the ox. He says, same thing as a child, when we're going to add to him day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, as long as we don't disconnect ourselves from our kids. לפיכך ישתדל על אדם ללמוד את בנו תורה בקטנותו לחנכו ללמוד מעט כפי נער, כפי שנף. So he says, that's why we have to put an effort. And we're going to put an effort to teach our kids Torah from the little age, which is we talk about 5, 6 years old. לחנכו ללמוד מעט כפי הנער, כפי שנף, שכפי יכול לסבול, and how much he able to grasp and how much patience he would have. והשם יתברך מתעלם שקטנים שכין בתורה. So it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very happy and he's very מתעלם. He goes like, he has so much enjoyment when the little kids learn Torah. שנאמר, like it says, מפי עוללים ויונקים. It says like the little kids, when they yonkim, which means they're still breastfeeding elderly, and they're learning Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is having so much enjoyment. אף על פי שהם מגלגלים בפסוק מפני שאינם יודעים לקרוא, HaKadosh Baruch Hu אוהב אותם. It says even though they're not reading, they're not calling the HaKadosh Baruch Hu properly, HaKadosh Baruch Hu still have, and he loves them, and he enjoys from them. שנאמר, like it says, ודיגלו עלי אהבה, אל תקרא ודיגלו, אלא ודילוגו. So it says that when a child sometimes he skips a word or skips a passage when he's reading, says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even that, what he has the enjoyment from it. But he needs to add to his starting and adding, like we said, day by day is very important, week by week, month by month, year by year. אמר המחבר, ודיגלו עלי גימטריה 159 כמניין קטן. כיצד קטן מתחיל לדבר מלומד תורה, ציווה לנו משה מורשת קהילת יעקב. He says when a little child start speaking already, so the first thing what we have to do, we could say Papa, Mama, Abba, Ima, Father, Mother. No, the first words comes to his mouth is the Torah ציווה לנו משה מורשת קהילת יעקב. והנה הפסוק ראשון של הקריאת שמע. Same thing, he's already start talking, even not clearly, not fluently. At least he has to say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Ve'ahavta, if is first paragraph, Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha, before he goes to sleep. And he gets used to by saying these things, he would used to become closer to the Torah. שיגדל מוסיף ללמוד מקצת פסוקים על פי שהיא בין 3 שנים להתחיל ללמוד אותיות. It says over here in this book, when a child already in 3 years old, he should already start learning the aleph bet, which is the אותיות. שיגדל לקרוא יותר, סוחר לו מלמד וקונה לו ספרים. It says over here that this book been written many 500 years ago almost. It says שיגדל, the older the child gets, buy him a teacher, socher, or pay somebody to teach him how to read, or teach him the aleph bet, and go forward with the adding to the learning. V'koneh lo sfarim, and we have to buy him books. Very important for children, where they like geography, encyclopedia, many type of books. That Baruch Hashem we have many books. So it's very important to buy him a books. מלומדו, ואם יכבד הנער לשקוד על לימוד תמיד, יפסנו בדברים שהקטנים אוהבים. ואם יכבד על נער לשקוד על הלימוד. So he says, sometimes a child, he says, listen, it's too hard for me. Or I'm not going to sit too long. So he says, יפסנו, we have to find a way. He's going to say how to find a way. דברים שקטנים אוהבים. He says, what the little child likes. מתאהבים, what they desire for. להם, כגון דבש וכליות, he says give him candies, or give him almonds. That's something that they like according to each child. So some like it, some don't. ואגוזים כיוצא בהם, ואומר הנה לך זה על מנת שתלך לבית הספר ותלמוד. Or I give you a chocolate, go to school and to add more to the learning. שיגדל יותר וימיס באלו הדברים ואומר לו אביו לך לבית הספר ותלמוד, אקנה לך הגורה יפה מנעליים נעים. So it says following like this, that once he's already going to grow, he says buy him a belt or buy him a beautiful shoes. שיגדל יותר ויאמר לו אתן לך זוזים על מנת שיתלמד ברכת המזון ותפילה. Says I will give you money, you're going to learn Birkat Hamazon, a tefillah, and a prayer. וקנו לו ציצית ותפילין כדי שיחנכו על מצוות. Then we have to buy him tzitzit, then we have to buy him tefillin, and in order for him to buy, שיגדל יותר ומר לך מה לימוד תורה ותקרא ללמוד הגון. So once he's going to grow more and more, we have to give him more presence in order for him comes to the Torah. So B'ezrat Hashem should give us baracha, tzlacha, briyut, arbe disiyat dishmaya. We're going to continue. This is one of the first chapters that we start with the parenting. We're going to continue with the Reshit Chochmah. He's going to give us advice that I think so far that I haven't seen so much information in one book, that he gives what's the parenting, and he talks about in every cases, in every many different cases that the people used to come. B'ezrat Hashem should give us baracha, tzlacha, briyut, arbe disiyat dishmaya, sason v'simcha.